Good afternoon on an amazing Friday, a blessed Friday in New York for the local football fan bases. We are here today, the day after round 1. Tonight is round 2 and 3 in the NFL draft of 2022. And I promise you there's not a fan that didn't wake up this morning in this city ecstatic. I'm talking both Jets and New York Football Giants. 5 players in the first round by the New York teams. Five stars. Franchise players to turn New York football around, back up. Like I said in yesterday's video stream, tonight would be the night that changes the future of New York football. And last night was that night, and nothing less. The Jets come away with arguably the best corner since Darrelle Revis in sauce in the country. Apple sauce. Lock down half the field. The Jets go get a receiver from Ohio State, a burner down the field, a talent, a real home run threat to add to the offense for the young quarterback Zach Wilson. And then the Jets, as Douglas always seems to do, pulls another rabbit out of his sleeve and comes back up into the first at 26, trades a couple of picks to go get a guy that never should have been anywhere near 26, a top 8 or 9 talent in the draft, a beast off the edge from Florida, Jermaine Johnson, a guy the Jets really needed. Because when they drafted Sauce, they passed on a lion in his draft. So that's a great pickup by the Jets, an amazing historic first round for a team that needed to fill these holes. And that leads me to the New York Football G-Men. The New York Football Giants have been dogged and crapped on for the last 6-7 years. The New York Football Giants have changed coaches, have turned players in and out, and have seemed to lack that confidence in leadership at the top. So unlike the history of the New York Football Giants. And let me tell you something, they bring in these 2 Buffalo guys. Joe Schoen, a GM, a young, good-looking, well-dressed, put-together football guy. A man who's a scout geek, like a lot of us fans. A guy who knows how to talk to the players and interact with people, a people's person. A new GM with a resume played a big role in building the Buffalo Bills up in northern New York, who right now look like they're ready to go win the Super Bowl. And Coach Dabble, who's been in this league for 21 years, he's not no stranger. Patriots, Buffalo, he's been to big-time places. And the Giants decided, let me bring in the fat, jolly, bald guy who looks, acts, and loves to be a head coach. A teacher of the game. What a head coach should be, and we haven't had one since the great Tom Coughlin. And when you got to 4, After Walker went to the Jaguars at 1, and Texans walk up to the podium and throw Stingley's name out there, it pushed so much talent down to the New York Giants. You had all 3 offensive linemen and 2 monster edge rushers in Jermaine Johnson and Kayvon Thibodeau. And the Giants' eyes must have lit up as the fans were probably going nuts. I know I was. And this man, the Jets took Sauce. And when Sauce's name was read, you had 2 fan bases going crazy. The Jet fans, because a lot of them wanted the lockdown corner. And the Giant fans, because a lot of us did not want the lockdown corner. You know what I mean? The Jets passed on what I call this year's generational lion, alpha lion beast in this draft. Kayvon Thibodeau, who's been the best player in the country for 2 years, and the smoke bullshit stories that were out there, I start to believe they might have been put out there by this Fox regime, the Giants. And the Giants were riding Sauce for 6 weeks, and I think they leaked it to the media, and it caught on, and it spread through the media like a forest fire. Sauce is the best player in the draft. Sauce is the lockdown corner. Sauce is a wink guy. The Giants gotta have Sauce. They're gonna trade Bradbury. They're getting the young Sauce. They can't afford Bradbury. And you look back today, and there are reports that those were some of the biggest smoke lies across the league, that the New York Giants regime is young and knows how to play chess. They know how to move pieces, and they know how to manipulate. The smoke is all over the place. Let's be real. The New York Football Giants never wanted Sauce. But they got a team in front of them, the Jets, thinking that if Sauce is so great because the media across the country says so, and the Giants are dying for Sauce. Hey, maybe we better not pass on Sauce. And the Jets have a history with the corners, Darrelle Revis. And I'm not saying they didn't get themselves a monster lockdown corner. They did. Special player. But I think the Giants sold Sauce to the Jets. I believe the Giants had their eyes on Kayvon Thibodeau for so long. And the Giants all this time wanted the edge lion. And there are quotes today from Carl Banks, the great Mike Francesca from the late old WFAN. Kayvon Thibodeau is being looked at as a modern-day Lawrence Taylor edge rusher. Now, it's not fair to call a man Lawrence Taylor, because Lawrence Taylor is the greatest single GOAT of all time. Okay, he was Superman. So it's not fair to label this kid that. But this kid has the arrogance of a goddamn lion that rules his jungle. He stands tall with his chest and muscles sticking out at the front of the line and hides behind nobody. The type of guy that's ready to go to war at any moment. The audacity of an arrogant, cocky animal. And that's what this guy is, and I've been saying it for 6 months. The lion of the draft. The beast of this draft. Kayvon Thibodeau out of Oregon. The New York Giants struck lotto last night with a monster edge rusher to put on the other side from Azeez Ojulari. You got Leo and Dexter in the middle, and now the Giants have a scary defense. The Giants are getting back to the defense our history knows. Good luck with that front four. Blake Martinez is back. You got young kids, and we got a strong secondary. And I believe Bradbury stays a Giant, and I believe Bradbury was always going to be a Giant. I tell you that trade rumors was all part of a puzzle to sell the whole league on how amazing Sauce is and how much the Giants needed to have Sauce. We gotta have Sauce or else we are screwed. And they sold the whole damn league, and they got the Jets to go get the guy. And again, not that he's not special, but I think the entire thing was smoke, hoping that Thibs would fall to the Giants, because everyone knows that if Thibs got to 4, Saleh and the Jets would have loved to grab him. And the Giants put out one of the smokiest, foggiest screens maybe in NFL history. And let me tell you something, if that's the truth, Joe Shane, you are some damn fox, man. You are brilliant. And you already have my unconditional confidence in you and Dabo. I love it. To me, you already did more than Judge and Gettleman did in 2 years. Any of the coaches before that, anyone after Coughlin, all was garbage. We got the real regime here. The Giants got an alpha lion.
I'm constantly nodding because I know everything about furniture.
And you don't have to look any further than last night, late at night, the statement that we've been waiting for forever. The type of statement only a lion makes. Kayvon Thibodeaux. In the fourth quarter, nobody's leaving their seats anymore because I work. I grind, I work. When you're sleeping, I work. When you wake up, I work. You ain't leaving your seats anymore. I'll sleep when I'm dead. Quote, Kayvon Thibodeaux. A lion walks into MetLife Stadium and he will instantly make the Giants his. And the way he talks with the confidence and swagger of a man that when you're great, when you're an alpha lion, an alpha male, you know you're great. You don't need to be told it. You're downright cocky, confident, and arrogant in a good way. This guy has all that, the leadership, and he reminds me the way he speaks of Ray Lewis. And I hope that he's half of a Ray Lewis in the locker room and won't allow any of these players to ever slack again. He's about the brand, but that's part of today's athlete. That don't mean he ain't bringing it. And when you bring it big time on the New York Football Giants in New York City and New Jersey, you will be a monster off the field in the marketing. He's got it all coming to him. And I'm so excited to have him because I only dreamed for 6 months of this guy, thinking that he would never get near the Giants. And then you turn around and look at the board, and there's 3 monster tackles on the board still. Evan Neal, Ekwonu, Cross, they're all still there. It's unbelievable. These teams went to sleep in front of us. And we are sitting, and a monster tackle is waiting for the New York Football Giants. And that's why the Giants grabbed Thibs at 5, because there was some whispers that the Cowboys were snooping around Carolina at 6 to try to come up and get Kayvon Thibodeaux, and Joe Shane and Dabo are too damn smart. Wink. And they said, take the beast right now. Don't take the chance of Carolina bailing out and giving him to somebody else, especially the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm sure there were a lot of teams that were licking their chops for a beast like Kayvon. And you know what? You knew your tackle was waiting for you at 7. I know there were a couple offers to trade out of 7, but the New York Giants said, you know what? We have a couple scenarios that we scratch out the trade if these names are there. And the 2 biggest lions in this draft, who the Giants were probably only dreaming of, fell right into their lap. And at 7, the Giants got a mountain of a monster of a man, and he ain't fat and sloppy. This guy's an athletic beast. Okay, jumps like a kangaroo, moves like an athlete and a half. 350 pounds, 6'7". What I heard Carl Banks call a lock staple piece to the offensive line. And some football analysts said, this kid, not only the best tackle in this draft, the best tackle to come out of college in years. We might be looking at a lock yellow coat out of Alabama. And when you come out of Alabama, you are NFL ready, plus some. A good head on his shoulder, humble, mature, a leader. Number 73. Evan Neal on the other side of Andrew Thomas, and the New York Giants now have a real offensive line and still growing. We got 2 monsters on both sides of the line of scrimmage. What does that tell you? You know what that speaks? That smells like the Giants' history. Joe Shane, Dabo have come in here and taken the Giants and turned back the clock to the Giants' historic days of when they dominated the NFL. And we are on our way. We are going to where we're going. And tonight's round 2 and we pick 4th. And we could go any way they want to go. There's some whispers of a quarterback, right? Malik Willis is still there, Sam Howell. But I believe the Giants are committed to Jones for one more year here for him to show us what he could do. And that's why we're building him an O-line and a big defense. And I'll tell you one guy last night who must have jumped off his couch and banged his head in the ceiling. And that guy's a star. We all love him. We all want him to be here for a long time. And we all still believe he's going to be a monster. And this kid now has a beast O-line to run behind. And number 26, Barkley, I believe is poised for a big year. And if he has a big year, we have the money to lock him up next year. I'll tell you what, man. We have a regime that we can believe in. We have nothing to doubt. And tonight we go in. Wherever they go, we believe in them and we back them up. Because, yo, they gave us a night to remember in history last night. The Giants regime has turned this train around. We could go corner. There are linebackers on the board like Dean, Leo Chanel. There are guys that we can have. Petrie from Baylor, right? Can play corner and safety. I mean, there are guys out there for the Giants, man. Falali is still out there. If you want to go O-line, I think Fanam, who can play guard and center. There are players for the Giants here. Again, we were sold into a smoke story that led to a smoke story that Bradbury would be traded. But I starting to believe real hard that the whole thing was a big made-up story to get Thibodeau to fall to us. And I think now that a couple receivers have entered the NFC East, the Cowboys have receivers, the Redskins drafted a bunch of good receivers, and now the Eagles brought in A.J. Brown to go with Devontae Smith. I think this Giants defense is loaded, and it serves us best to keep one of the best cover corners in football, Bradbury here, with Adoree Jackson. You got Robinson, Darnay Holmes, kids that you could raise, and you could go out and get another kid here tonight. I think Bradbury stays. They worked something out, I believe. They told Bradbury, don't come to non-mandatory camp because this is what we're doing. We want to sell the league that we're trading you so you don't have to come. But they let him in on the smoke story. And that he stayed away was all part of the plan. And the New York Football Giants are coming. And we have every right to be ecstatic. I love where we're going. For the first time, you can feel, sometimes your gut feels things that are so true. The Giants have themselves a regime. They know what they're doing. Sit back and ride the train back to the top. Round 2 tonight. Let's go get it. The midday with Miz.